Assalamualaikum dear students. Our today's topic for discussion is relative clauses. In today's lesson, we will be discussing some exercises based on relative clauses so that we may be able to understand it completely. Right? So let us start. Relative clause exercise first. Number first. They called a liar. The liar lived nearby. They called a liar. The liar lived nearby. We can write these two sentences like this. They called a liar who lived nearby. Or we can write like this. They called a liar that lived nearby. Right? Number second, I sent an email to my brother. My brother lives in Australia. We can write these two sentences like this. I sent an email to my brother who lives in Australia. Or we can write these two sentences like this. I sent an email to my brother that lives in Australia. 3. We broke the computer. The computer belonged to my father. So we can write these two sentences like this. We broke the computer which belonged to my father, or we broke the computer that belonged to my father. Now sentences 4, two sentences. I dropped a glass. The glass was new. We can write these two sentences like this. I dropped a glass which was new. Or we can write like this. I dropped a glass that was new. Now 5 group of sentences. She loves books. The books have happy endings. We can write like this. She loves books which have happy endings. So which for things, that for things, we are using which and that for things. Who for a persons. She loves books that have happy endings. Or we can write like this. She loves books which have happy endings. They live in a city. The city is in the north of England. We can write like this. They live in a city which is in the north of England. They live in a city that is in the north of England. Right? The man is in the garden. The man is wearing a blue jumper. So we can write like this. The man is in the garden. The man is in the garden. The man is wearing a blue jumper. We can write this sentence like this. The man he is wearing a blue jumper is in the garden. The boy works in a bank. The boy is from India. We can write like this. The boy who is from India works in a bank. The boy that is from India works in a bank. Now exercise 2 based on the relative clauses. Number first group of sentences. We ate the fruit. I bought the fruit. We can write like this. We ate the fruit which I bought. Or we can say like this. We ate the fruit that I bought. Number two sentences, group of sentences. Two sentences are here. So then we combine one sentence using a relative clause. So she bought the computer. Her brother had recommended the computer. We can write like this. She bought the computer which her brother had recommended. Or we can write like this. She bought the computer that her brother had recommended. He lost the money. I had given him the money. We can write like this. He lost the money that I had given him. Or he lost the money which I had given him. Number 4. We called the taxi company. We called the taxi company. Julie often uses the taxi company. We can write like this. We called the taxi company which Julie often used. We called the taxi company that Julie often uses. Number 5. John met a girl. I used to employ the girl. John met a girl who I used to employ. Number 6. Lucy called the doctor. My mother through my mother knows the doctor. We can write like this: Lucy called the doctor who my mother knows. That my, or we can say that my mother knows. We employed the liar. Shakil recommended the liar. We can write like this: we employed the liar who Shakil recommended, or that Shakil recommended. The fruit is on the table. I bought the fruit. We can write like this: the fruit which I bought is on the table, or we can write like this: the fruit that I bought is on the table. Another example: the wallet belongs to John. Lucy found the wallet in the garden. We can write like this: the wallet which Lucy found in the garden belongs to John, or the wallet that Lucy found in the garden belongs to John. Now relative exercise number 3. So we are discussing these exercises so that we may be able to understand the relative clauses completely, right? By drilling these sentences. So number first group of sentence: they found the money, I dropped the money. Or we can write like this: they found the money which I dropped, or they found the money that I dropped. I broke the plate. The plate was wedding present. I broke the plate which was a wedding present, or that was a wedding present, right? The police arrested the man. I saw the man steal a handbag. The police arrested the man. The police arrested the man who I saw steal a bag. Or the police arrested the man that I saw steal a bag. The police arrested the man. I saw the man steal a handbag. The this is a wrong exercise. This question number 4. The police arrested the man. I saw the man steal a bag. So we can write like this: the police arrested the man who I saw steal a handbag. The king fired the chief who we had met. This is here the two we have I have mistaken because two sentence are not given. So let's skip this exercise, this question number sentence number 4. Now let's come to the sentence number 5. He wrote to his friend. His friend lives in Vietnam. We can write like this: he wrote to his friend, to her. He wrote to his friend. His friend lives in Vietnam. He wrote to his friend who lives in Vietnam. Her is here. Her is wrong. So we must write here: he wrote to his friend who lives in Vietnam, who lives, or he wrote to his friend that lives in Vietnam. So number 6. Jill ate the sandwich. The sandwich had tomato and cheese inside. So we can write like this: Jill ate the sandwich which had tomato and cheese inside, or that had tomato and cheese inside. Number 7. His friend lives in Scotland. His friend is a liar. His friend who is a liar lives in Scotland, or his friend that is a liar lives in Scotland. We called the secretary. I went to school with the secretary. So we can write like this: we called the secretary who I went to school with, or that I went to school with, right? The CD is in my bag. The CD has Spanish music. We can write like this: the CD which has Spanish music is in my bag. Or we can say like this: the CD that has Spanish music is in my bag. Now sentence number group of two sentences. Then we had made it one sentence with the help of a relative clause. So let us understand this. The book is very interesting. The book is about Japanese culture. The book that is about Japanese culture is very interesting. Or the book which is about Japanese culture is very interesting. Now a relative clause exercise 4. The man was late. Wasim invited the man. The man who Wasim invited was late. The man that Wasim invited was late. The doctor was sick. I wanted to see the doctor. The doctor who I wanted to see was sick, or the doctor that I wanted to see was sick. The accountant was arrested. The accountant works for my father's company. The accountant who works for my father's company was arrested, or the accountant that works for my father's company was arrested. I wrote to the friend you met the friend last week. I wrote to the friend who you met last week, or I wrote to the friend that you met last week. The mobile phone can't be fixed. The mobile phone is broken. The mobile phone which is broken can't be fixed, or the mobile phone that is broken can't be fixed. 6. The car is in the garage. In the garage, the car broke down. The car which broke down is in the garage. The nurse is in the office. The nurse treated my grandfather. The nurse who treated my grandfather is in the office, or the nurse that treated my grandfather is in the office. The child is playing in the garden. We see the child often. The child we see often is playing in the garden. The child who we see often is playing in the garden. The child uh, Number 10. I often buy cheese. The cheese is imported from Paris. I often buy cheese which is imported from Paris, or I often buy cheese that is imported from Paris. She bought a car. Her sister liked the car. She bought a car which her sister liked, or she bought a car that her sister liked. I went to the restaurant. I read about the restaurant in the newspaper. I went to the restaurant which I read about in the newspaper. I went to the restaurant that I read about in the newspaper. Thank you. This was all about today's lesson. So we discuss it 4 exercises based on relative clauses. Hope you might have understood it. Thank you very much.